Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line, he reviews movies professionally. Yes, you heard me correctly. He is a professional movie reviewer. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. How you doing today, man?
I'm feeling professionally well. How about yourself?
It's Friday, it's St. Patrick's Day, and if I didn't have things to do today, I would be in a puddle of my own vomit.
Oh, well, I really don't know which direction to go with that one. I mean, on one hand, it sounds like you would have had fun, but on the other hand, it sounds like it'd be very painful.
Actually, you want to hear something crazy about St. Patrick's Day that's not drinking related?
Always.
This is actually the anniversary of the day I got engaged to my wife.
Well, this is the anniversary of the day my father got out of the Marine Corps.
And it's the anniversary. I don't know what else it's the anniversary of, but no, that's cool. Good deal.
See, he was leaving combat. You were going in. I don't really think marriage is combat, but that just felt too good to not do.
It was a perfect joke. There was no fat on that joke. It was great. Well done, sir. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com is on the line with me this week as you had an adventure to Disney, which we're going to get to here in a little bit. Movie-wise, the big one coming out this weekend is the new Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I've seen different takes on this movie from different critics. Everything from it's okay to it's not that great, but it kind of carries through with some of the humor. And nothing I've seen has been like, this is the best movie ever. What say you, Mike Reyes?
I have not seen the film, but
What?
I have seen those reactions where it's, what?
I just choked on my coffee, that's all.
Oh, okay. I thought you were surprised, but I didn't want you to get hurt. It's like, no. I haven't seen the movie yet because of the trip.
Yeah.
I had to miss a couple screenings with everything that's been going on lately. But I have heard basically the same thing. It's like, look, we still don't know where the DCEU is going to go in the next year because of Shazam and the Flash and Aquaman kind of looking like they're going to wrap up the original incarnation of the DC extended universe. And, James Gunn's team is coming in and doing new stuff. So everyone's kind of confused as to where this lands and how to feel about it. And on top of that, I have heard things where it's like, oh, it's basically the same sort of humor as Shazam 1. So don't expect anything too gritty or dark, even though those trailers started to look a bit darker.
Yeah.
But I think it's critically at like a 60%, I think. So you might have some division amongst the ranks there too. It's just really interesting to see comic book movies in general and how they're sort of being treated or how they're sort of being evaluated by the critics, and then how the fans are coming out and saying, like, I saw this really weird tweet that was rolling around that someone's like, these critics aren't, they're not real people. They're not real, like, viewers. They have, like, secret handshakes, and they're just giving these, they're doing the superhero movies dirty right now. And it just made me laugh. It's like, really? You really think that? And then it also goes back to the old, studio name here is writing those checks to get those reviews. It's like, no. The most that we're getting is if it's a junket in another town and we need travel, they put us in a hotel room because they don't want us to sleep on the street. I mean, sometimes you get cool swag bags and like a nice, a decent amount of hotel credit to, feed yourself. But it's not like, we're getting $2,000 checks every week from a studio to say, hey, this is fantastic.
Can I make a small confession about Shazam?
Of course. What is your problem, my son?
I have not seen the first one, nor do I have any desire to, and there was a trailer for this one that made me want to see it even less. And I don't remember what it was, but I remember being highly annoyed at it, and I don't know...
Is it him calling the dragon Khaleesi?
No, I actually laughed at that when I saw it in the trailer. That legitimately made me laugh. But I don't know what it is about Shazam, but I see everybody like head over heels for these movies, and I don't get them. I'm a superhero guy, but I see these movies, and I just, there's no part of me that goes, oh, I need to go see this.
Well, I saw the first one, and I did like it. I still don't know how I feel about this new one. I'll see it eventually. But I can kind of see where people would have a problem because it really is sort of more, it's more kid-friendly and kid-centric than most of the other superhero movies. And it doesn't take itself too seriously. And you know how some people love to rag on that. But on the other hand, some people love to champion that because we've had so many, grim, dark superheroes with gritty reimaginings and origins and voices you can understand. And Shazam's not that. It's very quippy. It's very family at its heart. It has literal kids as its characters.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see people... And even people, in the building I work in, they'll be talking about Shazam and how much they love this. And it's on HBO right now, I think, the first one. And I don't have any desire to turn it on. Not one.
It's also it's just been a very weird time for DC. Like, we're coming out of a weird period where studio management clashed with creative management, and there was an unclear vision for the future. Things got scrambled, things were reshot and retweaked, and feelings were hurt. And, Ben Affleck was talking about the Justice League experience again recently, saying that he was, really disappointed in the reshoots.
You know what this is? You know what it kind of seems like? It seems like a bad breakup.
It does.
So.
Imagine what, yeah.
Yeah, all right, we get it. Shazam! Fury of the Gods out now. If you want to go check it out, do so. Mike will see it at some point. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line right now to talk about movies. Was there any other movies that are coming out this weekend?
Oh, there is one more indie movie that I heard about that I do want to go see called Inside. And it's basically Willem Dafoe is a thief, breaks into this guy's apartment, and gets trapped in there. And we get to see him freak out and try to survive.
All right. I'll watch that.
So yeah, naturally I want to see that too. It's Willem Dafoe. Willem freaking Dafoe, ladies and gentlemen.
Moving on over, the big reason the big reason Mike hasn't seen anything this week is because you actually took a trip it was Disney World, right?
Yep. I got to go to Disney World in Orlando, Florida.
Why for?
Well, they were doing a huge event called All the Disney Thrills, and what they were doing is basically talking about the future of the parks, and more specifically, there were 2 attractions that they wanted to feature, and I got to experience on top of everything else that I crammed into 2 and a mornings full of almost 2 whole days of thrills, and a little bit of the lot yesterday morning when I left. But the big things they were hyping up were the Tron Light Cycle Run, which is going to be opening in the Magic Kingdom in the Tomorrowland section, and then the Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, which is opening in Toy Story Land in the Hollywood Studios.
Okay. So explain, please.
I was going to leave you. Oh, okay. See, I was going to leave you some room there to sort of jump in. It's
I'm not a professional like you.
You are professionally professional.
I don't know how to radios and podcasts. You must just.
I got a funny eye.
You must deal with my simple nature. I'm just a simple radio host.
I'm just a simple radio host that was unfrozen from the ice 20 years ago. I don't know. Your new ways are strange and weird to me. Oh, I miss Phil Hartman, and I miss Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer.
All right, let's talk about this Tron. It looks like a roller coaster of some sort, right?
Oh, it is a roller coaster. It is not only a roller coaster, it is a full-on experience. And
okay.
It's gorgeous. So I am a huge Tron fan.
Yeah, we've talked about
love
this.
The original movie, love Legacy. Yeah, that goes without saying.
Hey, wait, real quick. You remember
sure.
Just going with Tron Legacy, because it wasn't well received when it came out. Do you think that's one of those movies, if all of a sudden it showed up on a different streaming platform, that it might benefit from that? You know how we're talking about R.I.P.D. and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's perfectly fine on Disney Plus, because not only do you have the original, you have Legacy and you have Uprising, which was the unjustly canceled after 1 season animated series that not only is amazing, but the voice cast is stacked. I mean, you've got a series where Bruce Boxleitner, Elijah Wood, Mandy Moore, Lance Hendrickson, Reginald VelJohnson, and a whole bunch of other people. Just every episode there was a new person where it's oh wow, David Arquette is in there too as a voice.
Oh, cool.
It's oh wow. Yeah, you just look through that cast list and it's amazing. Plus, Akilah Cooper, the woman who wrote Megan and Insidious, no, not Insidious, Malignant, was a staff writer on the show and contributed to that writer's room. So highly recommend going back and watching Tron Uprising on streaming. It did pretty well. It did moderately well when it came out. Like, it wasn't a Marvel movie, but it did like Alita well, where it's like it made like double its budget, I think. But the studio had maybe higher hopes for where it was going to go. And then that led to just years of history where the third movie was in development. A script was written. It supposedly was going to go into production until Tomorrowland bombed out and they pulled the plug. And then now we're at a new script, apparently a new script draft where Jared Leto is going to play the lead. That's where we're at now.
Yeah.
But and funny enough, I actually got to talk to some people that were involved in like the Tron history, because I got to talk to Bruce Boxleitner and Cindy Morgan, who played Alan and Laurie in the friends to Kevin Flynn, Jeff Bridges in the original Tron. And then I spoke with Steven Leisberger, who is the co-writer director of the original Tron, and Justin Springer, the producer of Legacy.
Okay, I'm flipping through
this was just a big. Go on.
Oh, I just said I'm flipping through some Tron clips on YouTube.
This was just a big celebration of Tron, because like they had a huge event where journalists and influencers were invited to ride the ride at night, and that was after basically a day of, okay, so long as it's not interrupting interviews and everything else, you can ride it as much as you want.
How many times did you ride?
6 times. 6. I got 5 the first day, and then one last one the day after I did my second interviews. And that first day, I actually squeezed in one of the last nighttime rides that they did. And oh man, I haven't been on a roller coaster in years, and I haven't been to Disney in 20 years. This was it felt like a homecoming. This thing goes from 0 to 60 right from the gate, and that's where they take your picture. And I have some wonderful pictures from that moment. And then you're shot from one ride building to the other, and inside the other one is this wonderful, like, digitally projected show where you're light cycle racing against another team.
Oh, cool.
And it's phenomenal. And it is even better at night because of the light up canopy. But the daytime rides didn't kill the vibe, because you're basically going from show building to show building. So it's enclosed and dark in each of those.
Okay.
It's just a really cool added effect when you go under that tarp and it's changing from blue to orange, and like the hexes are lighting up.
Okay.
And they have composer Joe Trapanese, who did the music for Uprising and was an orchestrator with Daft Punk on Tron Legacy. He wrote new music for this to be played in the lines and played on the ride. I never got sick of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful collage of music that it gets you hyped for it. Like, we were doing interviews in front of the ride, and while I was waiting, the music is still playing. I'm getting like hyped. And then it's like, okay, I am certainly ready for this. And then I felt like the interviews went better, maybe because of it, or maybe just because I was in such a good mood after riding this ride.
That's awesome. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me to talk about his trip to Disney. What was it was Toy Story, wasn't it?
Yes. So the other experience I got to enjoy firsthand before it opens to the public, it was Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, which is right in Disney Hollywood Studios Toy Story Land. It is a family-style barbecue restaurant where you will be treated to wonderful meats or non-meat. Because the thing was, I actually asked them if I could try the plant-based menu and the meat menu. And both are fantastic. For you meat lovers out there, I got to try the brisket and the ribs. And I think one had like the sweeter barbecue and one had the spice. No, both of those had the sweet, I think.
Okay.
Sweet barbecue sauce. Absolutely delicious. They also give you can also have like watermelon mint cubes. They have fire roasted corn. There's like a whole menu of things you can choose. And they gave us like a limited tasting to, sample things out. But what really impressed me is the plant-based menu had like plant-based bratwurst and a corn dog, and the corn dog tasted really good. Like I will say what you lose in those sorts of foods is the texture, because the sausage isn't as thick as like a regular meat sausage.
Yeah.
And the corn dog it didn't feel breaded, but the taste was great. The taste is phenomenal on both of those. And then they give you like a nice roasted cauliflower with sauce and breadcrumbs. There's some boozy drinks that sounded delicious, but unfortunately we didn't get to try. However, their peach iced tea is sweetened just right. Like, I love iced tea, but I don't I can't really drink sweet tea anymore, which they do also have at the restaurant. But the peach iced tea was perfect because it was just sweet enough. It was definitely refreshing.
All right. Sounds like a good time. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line with me right now. Biggest takeaway from Disney?
I want to go back. It was too long since I had gone there. Lightning lanes are definitely, it feels like a necessity because there's some rides like I went on Avatar Flight of Passage, and just full disclosure, they gifted us. We obviously got park hopper passes to go do these interviews.
Yeah.
But then we were also allowed to go roam about the park when we had free time. They gave us 2 lightning lanes for each park. One would be locked into a specific attraction, and then the other would be like, go do your own thing. So I only didn't get to roam about the Magic Kingdom because I was in Tomorrowland on Tron, and like, also the only roaming I did was over to the Tangled Rest area to get photos because that's one of my favorites. But the second day was like a big park hopping day because I started out in Hollywood Studios because that's where the barbecue experience was going to be. So it's like, okay, maybe I'll, go on some Star Wars rides. Managed to get on Smuggler's Run and Flight of the Resistance thanks to the lightning lanes. And those were phenomenal. Then did the interview experience. Did the barbecue experience, went to an interview at Magic Kingdom, rode Tron again, went to a dinner at one of the steakhouses hosted by Charles, our wonderful PR rep, and then went into Epcot, did Ratatouille, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Mission Space, and then that was that night. And then yesterday morning, I went to Animal Kingdom to do the Avatar rides and Expedition Everest before I came home.
Perfect.
So lightning lanes they'll cost you, but they are very good if you want to like get on certain rides. And then like last night, just before close, no, not last night, the night before we left, just before close, went through lightning lane on Guardians and then went on to Mission Space without a lightning lane because it's not as popular. Got on like the last ride of the night. So strategy is definitely something you need for a Disney visit. And one last thing I will say, Tron Light Cycle Run is doing a full opening on April 4th. But apparently between March 20th and April 2nd, virtual queue and lightning lanes will be soft opened to guests from the public. So if you thought you were going to miss it by that much because you were going right before that official opening, that you might be in luck. And also, I think that's around the same time Roundup Rodeo Barbecue is opening up.
Perfect.
The 24th might be the day.
Perfect. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line to talk about movies and such. I wish my job would send me away to somewhere like there.
I wish you could have brought a whole bunch of people. Like I can see why people go on group trips to Disney because if you're having that much fun, you want to share it with other people.
No, I get it.
Like I was really sad that my wife didn't come along with me because the whole thing would have been we would have had to pay for airfare, and that's not really on the cards right now.
Yeah.
So. But I would definitely want to take her and like get my family back there because there was a period of time that we went every year, my family and I, and it was so much fun.
That's great. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line. All right, as we get ready to wrap up this week, real quick, we had the season finale of Last of Us. Did you get a watch, or did you have to skip this week?
I watched that right after the Oscars.
It's great, wasn't it?
Oh man, there's a storm brewing.
I looked up what happens, and it's like, oh God, oh no.
I learned part of what happens by accident, and then I just started piecing things together in my head. It's like, oh, this is one of those moments like that meme with the Bethesda games where it's like you make a decision like in Fallout, and it's like that person will remember that.
Yeah.
It's like like that's Ellie will remember that.
Oh, it's
because I was even watching the special features for that the week's episode. And, you just have the interview where, why am I blanking on her name right now? I'm still in a Disney scramble.
You're fine.
Bella Ramsey. There we go. Bella Ramsey. There was an interview where she's like, yeah, Ellie knows that Joel's lying to her, but she kind of wants to believe him because she doesn't want to, she wants to believe him. Plain and simple. And then, of course, Pedro Pascal getting what everyone's been calling a John Wick moment, or just blasting through that hospital.
A buddy of mine wrote me that the other night. He goes, "Did you watch The Last of Us?" I said, "Yeah." And he just wrote back, "John blanking Wick."
Yeah. Look, I don't know if he's too big to suggest this at this point, but I think Pedro Pascal eventually has to become someone in the John Wick universe. I think he needs to face off against Keanu Reeves at some point.
Or something like that. He would, you know what else he would make a good, and I know he played a villain in Wonder Woman 2, but like a Bond villain of some sort.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, he would be a terrific Bond villain. And I did love, he's like the one part of Wonder Woman 1984 that I really loved. And I always forget that movie exists and he was in it.
Yeah.
He was like the best part.
Pedro in mind, we got a new Mandalorian this week. Did you get a chance to see that yet?
I've only watched the first episode of the season.
Oh, okay. We'll skip. It was good. It's better than the first episode. Did you think you did see the first episode of the season, you said?
Yeah.
I will say this. We don't have to go into it a ton, but I do love on TikTok, Bo-Katan, them putting her walk to different music.
Oh, I'll have to find that.
It's awesome. And that's pretty much it for this week, right? I could talk about Star Trek, but I don't want to bore you.
You don't bore me with Star Trek. Are you kidding?
I just watched the new
I hate science fiction.
The new episode. Well, it's kind of, I don't want to spoil it for you, and there's a lot of stuff that there was a really, really big, like, surprising return to Star Trek last night.
So I heard. I only heard that there was a big surprise.
Did you hear who it is?
No.
It is a shocking return to Star Trek. I'll put it that way.
Ooh, I can't wait to find out about it. I mean, again, I signed up for Paramount again. I just need to find time to engage and take my trip back into Star Trek.
The return leads to a great scene between that person and Patrick Stewart, which is both anger and sadness, and it's so well done.
Ooh, I love what I'm hearing here.
And Worf is still one of the best characters of the series. I'll tell you that much right now. So.
Oh yeah, like who would have ever thought? Like going back to the Next Generation, where it's like, okay. So a Klingon is now serving in Starfleet, and he's going to rock.
There is a scene of him, his whole thing, you know, Raffi, the lady from the first two seasons, the new character in Picard.
I think she's
curly
in that
hair
clip where he's introduced, right?
Yeah. They're kind of partners in this, and they're doing a sparring scene, and they're fighting, and at one point, they drop in the classic Klingon music.
Bum, 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 bum,
yeah, they hint at it in the background when he starts like showing how far ahead of her she is.
You know where else was a wonderful spot that they dropped that in?
Star Trek First Contact.
Yes. Thank you. You read my mind. Because the moment they introduced Worf on the Defiant, it's like you hear that swelling up.
Yep.
Like, oh.
Yep. So, all right.
Speed, today is a good day to die.
You know what one of my favorite moments of any Star Trek is?
What?
It's in Deep Space Nine. I believe the episode, it's like In Purgatory's Shadow or the one right after that. Worf is a prisoner of war along with a few other people, and he's made to fight the Jem'Hadar. And there's a great scene where it's their final fight, and the Jem'Hadar's saying is victory is life. So they show the Jem'Hadar, and he goes, victory is life, and they cut right to Worf, and he goes, today is a good day to die.
Oh.
And it's such a good, like a cool moment where it shows how different and similar these two guys are.
Yeah, that's, oh, man.
So anyways, all right, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every Friday on the show to talk about movies. You have a happy St. Patrick's Day, and we'll see you next week, okay, man?
You have a happy St. Patrick's Day over there, too, my friend, and perhaps today is a good day to podcast.
I'm just a simple radio host.
I don't know your cultural ways. What are these newspapers? The internet? The only net I need is to keep my hair safe in the shower.